I want to do a quick review of this year's and last year's Grand Blue Fantasy and Year's events, because they did rerun last year's this year again as well. Anyway, this year's, I don't know how exactly they translated this one into English as usual. I did a quick search, couldn't find it, but yeah, it's something along the lines of The Bell's Last Echo or something like that. Last year's they called Old Langxiety, which actually worked out really well, and it just, it's fitting because I liked last year's better than this year's anyway. But let's start with this year's event. As usual, the bell goes berserk, and it's your job to beat it back into place. I don't quite get the appeal of this, and yes, it's in part because it is a cultural barrier of the whole Buddhist concept of ringing the Joya bell and releasing your bono, or as they translate into English, desires, which doesn't quite capture the nuance. The whole thing, it's lost on you, but yeah, it's kind of like if a Christmas tree went berserk. Who cares? And like, do you want to do the same thing every single year? So yeah, it's kind of boring for that reason. And also, this year they introduced a new character, a robot bell. And yeah, robots with feelings will never not be boring. I really hate this trope, and that made it extra boring this year. The mouse girl was flat, so that made it even more boring. There was really nothing in this event for me this year, so who cares? Last year, I liked the event a lot more because it had Zooey, and Zooey is really fucking cool. So I loved having her as kind of the star of the event. What was the Boar Girl last year? She was pretty cool. And also, last year, there seemed to be a final sense of like conclusion that maybe that was the last year the bell was going to go berserk. I thought they were really going to do away with it then, so yeah. Last year was much better than this year. Of course, that was a lie because they brought the bell back again this year, but who cares? These events generally suck. This year was no exception.